Now is where we will invite members of our audience to come and ask questions or make comment. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm a semi-retired teacher. I work as a math tutor. I'm actually from up on the Quebec side of the border. And I've also taught in the States. And I'm hearing this part about public-private partnerships and engineering. And I love engineering. I teach calculus. But I keep looking at all of these policies for education, and I keep banging my head on the wall saying, you need longitudinal planning. You're all saying all these wonderful things you're doing in the post-secondary. And my big issue is always getting people into the post-secondary. You've got to get them literate in elementary school, and you've got to get them math literate, and you've got to get them doing math and science in high school before they can even start all these wonderful things you're talking about. And this is always my issue, that you're getting lots and lots of international students coming in, filling up the spaces, because quite honestly, there aren't enough local people getting there. And that's my issue when I saw the title of this program, and it was about college and career readiness. And, you know, longitudinally, it has to be right through 1 to 12, and you have to get fundamental literacy and math literacy first.
Amen.
Thank you.
And on behalf of all of us up here, thank you. Because without teachers like you getting the students excited about math, about science, about learning, none of us would have jobs. What we have to do is to be partners with K through 12. So at Clarkson, we run things like FIRST Robotics. Get high school kids excited about building robots, because when they're excited about building robots, they get excited about math, and they get excited about engineering, and they get excited about all kinds of different things. And they get excited about teamwork.
My daughter did FIRST Robotics many years back. I'm trying to calculate 15 years back or so. It was still a newer program back then. And she said that it was just about the best thing she did in high school. Mm-hmm. And that includes 2 bands, 2 or 3 foreign languages. The FIRST Robotics was her best memory of high school. I mean, again, really good. My big issue is, as I said, basic literacy, because if they're not learning to read in the primary, they can't do the robotics. And that's where I'm always concerned. Okay.
Thank you. And may I get your name and where you're from?
Victoria Halliburton. I'm living in Ormstown, Quebec, which is just north of Chateauguay, New York.
Yes. Great. Thank you very much for coming. And Chuck, to pick up on what you were talking about, we're obviously hearing a lot about programs like Thrive that are looking at starting much, much earlier with development.
There's so much evidence that if you don't catch the imagination of children, particularly of young women, by grade 6, you've lost them. We have to catch the kids at a very young age and say, you can do this. It's hard work, but you know, just like your mother told you, hard work never killed anybody. You can do it. You can master this, and you know something? It's kind of interesting. Once you've mastered this, look at all of the other things that you can do. Get them excited, get them engaged, get them to accomplish some things so that they understand that this is a real career path.
And Clarkson obviously is at the forefront of emphasis of STEM in schools.
Clarkson is very engaged in STEM education. It is an area both of practice and of research for our math faculty, to understand how it is that you teach, how it is that you inspire. Whether building model roller coasters is the right way to capture kids' attention about physics, or whether it's just a fun time. It turns out the answer is both. It's a fun time and a way to capture the kids' attention on physics and math.
And those are the skills, many of those are the skills that they will use later in life for many of these manufacturing jobs.
That's exactly right.
And our Chancellor, Nancy Zimpher, has been right on point about this all the time in terms of a continuing effort to reach all the ways down into kindergarten up in order to get students ready for college. And SUNY Plattsburgh, under the leadership of John Edling, President Edling, is engaged in the Thrive initiative here right now in our community. So we recognize this very clearly. I think most universities do, that in order to get students ready for college, you have to get them ready for college at the earliest point you can.
Welcome, Bob. Good to see you.
Thank you for coming. It is really exciting to be in this community at this point, and very beneficial because all the people you see in this room are people who are very engaged with this community and want to make it a success. And one of the things that NORSC does bring to this area, Advanced Manufacturing Institute, the aeronautical development at the airport, brings the opportunity to get engaged. And what is happening here is the fact that when NORSC comes in, this is a company that's going to be really engaged in this community because it's in their best interest. And they want to see things develop in it. They want to get engaged in it. And I just want to say welcome, and we look forward to this because that excitement that a company such as NORSC and the companies that we all represent, when we come together, we can do just about anything. And this is the environment that we have to encourage and develop, and out of that will come success for our communities, because you can't continue to ask for handouts from above. You have to make these opportunities, and I think that's what's really exciting for us, and we welcome the engagement that we will see from NORSC as we go forward. So just a comment, and I guess you have a bunch of willing, a willing community to help you be successful.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that, and we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen from everyone I've been in contact with is very business-centric, really looking at, how can we help? What are you looking for? And these are the kind of things that an employer coming to an area just loves to hear, that kind of support structure.
The university has done a great job in building I've seen this internship develop in many facets of our community, and it is quite successful. And another thing that they have started to develop is asking people, leaders in the community, to come and speak to classes to give them a dose of reality.
Sure.
And really tell it like it is out there, because
I love doing that.
That is really, really important, because you don't want to have a shocked 23-year-old coming out of college and not know what they're walking into. And seeing that, getting the real feel for it, not only in internships, but having the leaders of the whatever industry it is, tell them like it is. And that's what you can help us with, and the colleges and the institutes for higher learning. So,
Most
thank you.
definitely. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Bob. Cheryl, welcome.
Thank you. One of the interesting themes that you brought up was partnerships. And there was a time where, when I first got to Clinton, that we thought that the partnership was with the university on one side and the high school on the other. And you brought this up earlier, that it's very important to start at the very beginning. You brought up Thrive, and I'm part of that organization. I think it's amazing, and for me has been a learning experience, because that college readiness, which you would think, oh, well, just get the high school student ready, they're ready. It doesn't start there. It starts right at the pre-K level and to move forward. So when you're talking about the soft skill, when you're talking about partnerships, it's all along the way. So from my perspective at Clinton, when we're working with, for example, one of our a major partner is the new high school, the Adirondack P-Tech High School. That's huge, and huge for a STEM initiative. These students are coming out focused and prepared for any one of our technology degrees, any one of the jobs that might be at NORSC and beyond that. But it is going to change the way you talked about earlier. How do we teach? What are we teaching? They're learning in a very applied learning, hands-on type of an environment. And I think that's going to spread through the community and change change not only just that particular high school, but it's going to change all the way through our K-12 system. I think it's already changed the faculty at Clinton. So I think that's basically just a comment, but I think important that the partnership and that K through cradle to career, that's what Thrive is looking at, and I truly believe that that's going to change this community in a greater fashion than we have seen it yet.
Thanks, Cheryl. And you mentioned Adirondack P-TECH. Now in the second year, based at Peru High School, students from around the region coming as early as beginning in grade 9, starting to learn about science, technology, taking college courses before they graduate, then continuing a 2-year program at Clinton. And Chuck, you were mentioning that possibly in the future, the 6-year program could even expand into an 8-year program with Clarkson.
Across the country, students coming out of a 2-year program into a 4-year university succeed better than the average student. The students who have the motivation to make it through a 2-year program and then want to go on for a 4-year degree are the ones who are best prepared, best motivated, calibrated as to what it's really going to take, and motivated to finish out. So we enjoy our partnership with Clinton Community College. We enjoy our partnership with the university also. We can exchange some ideas. We can pick up some of their students for our graduate programs.
My name is Brittany Trebenis. I'm the director of North Country Thrive, and I know some of you have already heard a few comments about North Country Thrive, and I think I would be remiss after meeting with our leadership council meeting last week and talking about trying to bring in leaders and other spokes of our organization bigger and better, and getting other leaders on our board. So what I would ask and let you know is if you go to northcountrythrive.org, we have 6 outcomes that we're trying to improve, cradle through career. And I would invite every one of you to join us and talk with us to see if there's something we can do. We're data driven, as many of you mentioned. We're trying to look at what works and doing small tests of change to identify what we can replicate in our region. I've lived here my entire life in the North Country, and this is a great place to live and work. And I would love to see you folks as well kind of come into our collaboration and see what we can do cradle through career. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chasser Johnson from Plattsburgh. My question to the panel is, we've talked a lot about students that are going to college from high school, K through 12, learning how they can get ready for careers. But for example, someone who's completed their military service and wants to go back to college, or someone who went straight to work and then wants to go back to college, what can you recommend to them in terms of what they should do next and what kind of strengths they can bring to the table?
Okay, we go down the line again?
Sure.
Good.
Thanks, Chris.
So my experience with all employees that came out of some level of military service has been really, really good. I'm an aerospace manufacturer. People with military service follow procedures, they understand protocol, they always show up, and attrition is very low. So from my perspective, that I'd like to see them come straight to work and not go to school. Because I think they learned a lot of life skills already. And many of them, it's just finding out from their MOS what's applicable. So I'm all ears when I see military experience on a resume for those reasons.
Thank you.
You know, SUNY Plattsburgh really welcomes veterans as well. They make very good students. They're very dedicated. They're likely to succeed. We've been designated a military veteran-friendly campus by Military Times. We have a counselor on hand specifically for veterans to assist them in any kind of transition or help. And we just love to see veterans take hold of their educational goals with us.
At Clarkson, we don't even know how many veterans we have because some of them choose to self-identify, some of them choose not to. We like the ones who do because there's special military financial assistance, plus we can engage them with appropriate counseling. One thing that we do is to run them through a different orientation. when a lot of our students are 18 years old and it's the first time they've been away from home and they get to sleep in a dorm, that would not be appropriate orientation for the military students. We provide more appropriate orientation for the more mature students who've already had a number of life experiences. And we find that the discipline and the training that either a veteran or a veteran of the workforce brings to college usually makes them a superior student.
At Clinton, just like SUNY Plattsburgh, we've also been ranked a very military-friendly, very veteran-friendly college. And you know, from the experience in the classroom, we've had a lot of veterans come through the program, and we also, like Chuck, we also have some benefits on campus. We have a veterans club, and we have counselors that work with the veterans. But one of the unique things of the veterans coming out of the military is all the different experiences that they've had, which they've touched on, and working with those counselors and coming in and looking at those experiences. A lot of those experiences can be applied for credit in different areas, and really helps to kind of jumpstart their career in different directions just by explaining some of the opportunities that maybe the electrical classes provided, or somebody who was a helicopter technician, some of the different areas that they can kind of, the next path they can follow.
Justin and Tom?
Sure. Well, first off, thank you for your service. And not you.
No,
I
that's a
assumed.
general question.
Oh, I assumed that was your
I
service.
want to go back to school or go into technical fields or nursing or business. I'm not
Okay.
in the military.
I assumed you were. But one of the things you touch on is that you raise an interesting point. You can get those 2 years, maybe you're working, and then you're thinking about how do I get back into acclimating into the school and academia. The opportunities to work really give you a chance to say, this is what I like and this is what I don't like. This is what I think I'm good at and this is what I think I'm not going to be a good fit for. So you really can take advantage of those years, and then it can really help you choose what you want to enroll in, and I think it really sets you up for success.
I would agree with that, and you know, we have many opportunities both for veterans as well as just people that are working in our facilities that want to advance their education. We do a lot of tuition support, tuition assistance programs, and really try to help people that want to go on and continue their education while continuing to work. We do that quite a bit.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for your question. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. My name is Liu Xie. I'm assistant professor at SUNY Plattsburgh, and I teach economic geography. So I'm here is because I'm very interested in the topic, and one of the topics in my economic geography class is the labor market model, trying to find out effective way to bridge the gap between the employer and the employees. So. One of the important things is to foster long-term employer-employee relationship, and we talked about how early we should begin, and high school is a good starting point. So I actually have 2 students very interested in trying to find out the local opportunities for high school students. They want to do independent study next semester with me. So I have 2 questions. One question is, as a local employer, what kinds of opportunity do you think your company can provide for local high school students for them to have some hands-on experiences? Because you don't know what you need math for before you actually need it later. That might be too late. So that's first question. The second question is, if we want to move our project forward, who we should contact for the students? I'm asking for the students.
So the question for our employers, are there opportunities, internships, or opportunities for high school students?
Yeah. Well, again, from my perspective, it's a little early, probably for that. Certainly for the near-term students that you have available, are looking for that today. But I think in the future we're certainly going to develop that kind of a program where we can get some interest. Again, the last one I gave an example a little earlier, but was really those students that identified they weren't really targeting a 4-year college, they were targeting a technical certification. And so we were keenly interested in those folks because we really wanted to give them exposure to, I was immediately following high school, to 4 different companies over the course of a year, 3 months in each place. So I like that kind of a program because I think it's application. I mentioned the rate of attrition there from 10 to 3. They didn't realize what it was like to work in manufacturing in some cases, right? So that was but that's a better thing to find out. Someone said it, it's a better thing to find that out in your 19th year of life than it is in your 29th year when you have a wife and a kid, So I think what I'm interested in doing is sort of take an interest base like that, and then sort of show them what we have available from an employer perspective in a fairly technical kind of field.
Thank you, Chris. Tom at the hospital, Justin at NBT Bank.
So I know of at least one program. New Visions is a program that many of the local high schools participate in, and they actually have several students that spend a semester at the hospital working in a lot of different areas, and I think it really helps them to see many different opportunities for applying the things that they've learned in high school, and then give them ideas of things that they might like to do and things that they might not like to do. And so I think that's one place that's really valuable.
Yeah, and I would highlight not as much of the high school factor, but I would point to is we've brought a number of students into our bank each summer. We tend to do that, and it gives them a chance to work hands-on. They have a job. They're interacting with customers. They're interacting with employees, and they're really learning not just about the industry, but some of those life skills that are very important.
I'm Sylvie Nelson with the North Country Workforce Development Board, and just to answer your questions, through our programs at the Workforce Development Board, we offer shadowship. We also work in partners with some of the people present with Career Connect and some career exploration. So certainly I have my card here. I can make that available to you. The other thing too I'd like to comment on is the important role that parents play. As the mother of a 12-year-old girl who struggles sometimes in math, I think it's our responsibility to make sure that we encourage our kids and that we also find solutions for them. Example, sometimes when she struggles so much and I don't understand what she's going through because I forgot it because it was so long ago, she has a tutor. Those are the type of things that we try to do as parents, but we need to also engage our parents to find out what type of jobs there are here. Sometimes you drive through and you see these buildings and they're kind of, no windows. You don't understand what goes on in there. And there's, really cool stuff going on in there. And we need to make sure that our kids understand the type of opportunities that we have right here in the North Country, and to encourage them to explore them through shadowship programs and things like that, and to also encourage them to look at different career pathways that we have, because sometimes college is not an answer for every student. It can be, technology, it could be, through a CV Tech and so on. So I think that that's one of the challenge through our organization, that we have to bridge that gap on making sure that everyone understands the opportunities that we have.